everybody, good evening, and I'm back again. So it's great, na? Summer se leke winter, our clothing is changing, our outfits are changing, but my chai ka cup appears exactly as my webinar starts. So my tea arrives exactly on time, and like I said, it is a time which I just dedicate to sit down, sip my chai, and breathe. And as usual, we are going to start with Panda. And today, Panda is really bored. And Mama's got him loads and loads and loads of toys, but no fun. So Panda just gets up and goes out, and then he sees this little mouse collecting some stones. So he says, "Okay, little mousey, what are you going to do?" So he said, "I'm going to play with the stones." So Panda said, "Big deal, what can you do with stones?" So he said, "Okay, just watch." And he picked up stones that were how many? One, two, three, four, and five, and said, "Now just see what I'm going to do." So I can pick one, I can pick it up, and I can pick another, and I can pick another, and another, and another, and I won't drop it. And Pan said, "Oh my God, I want to try this." And they both sat down to play. And time just went on and on. And then Mummy suddenly called out and said, "Pan, what are you doing?" So he said, "I'm playing with five stones." And she said, "Oh, really? For so long?" So just then, the rabbit came hopping along. And what he saw was he was jumping on something that looked like this. He jumped here and then 2 feet and then one and then two. And then he turned around and again came to one, two, and one. So Pan asked him, "What is this?" He said, "I like to play hopscotch. All I need is a little stone. All I need is a little patch where I can draw on the floor. It can be an old chalk, and if not, I just take a stick and draw on the mud. And I can just take a stone and I can play my hopscotch all day long." So now Pan loves to go out and play and loves to do simple things all the way. So today I have a very, very special guest. Uh, Somebody I met more than a decade back. Uh, and I so distinctively remember what I felt when I stood in this little circle, and we had this, 10 years back, there was change beginning to happen. People were beginning, we were starting training, and I thought that this man is going to walk in and tell us some technicalities about play. And he just looked at us and said, "Go, you need to crisscross without touching each other." And everybody took off. Imagine, it was as simple as that. So today I have Agyat with me. Agyat also has this beautiful partner, Swati, who's not here with him today, but I'm sure he's carrying her very, very close to what he does. They do something so interesting that says play for peace and wellness. You can't imagine where all he's traveled, what all they have done, what kind of healing they do, how they go to places with earthquakes, where there are attacks, where there is pain, where there's flood, and they just go there and play. Can you believe that? Can you believe somebody doing it? Whether going to, Sudan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Greece, Nepal, and finally he's here on our Square Panda platform with us. So again, thank you so much. You're on mute, Agyat. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
So Agyat is a man of few words, okay? So today, if he has to be made to speak, we have to keep asking him questions. वो बहुत कम बोलते हैं, and I think a lot of strength with what he does. So I'm going to ask you to tell us again about the beginning of this journey. How did it all begin?
Okay. So, to help everyone who's listening through this, if the conversation gets boring and you still want to keep yourself engaged, you can do this, So you see this one thumb out and one tiny finger out, and then switch, and then switch,
Hmm.
and then switch. So, if you get this perfection in whatever time, just let me know in the chat box, and I'll tell you another one. Okay, so to
So
answer
you
the
have to you
question,
have to do this again. No, please do this again once
yeah,
more. Okay.
no, yeah,
Okay.
You just
Hey,
have to switch. What left hand is doing, the right hand has to do
oh,
the what right hand is doing
I'm
is
going to keep practicing this
yeah.
then.
And if your hands get stiff, just remember to shake them and relax. Otherwise, anyway, you won't be able to make sense of what I'm saying, right? You'll be too focused there. So
Yes.
I'm taking that risk by engaging you in that. But to answer your question, Sonia, uh, I've never been a playful. I was never a playful person in my childhood. I think uh, the games that I played was with my mother when she used to play card games and used to get, used to lose purposefully so that I don't feel bad. And somehow I grew up not enjoying competitive games at all. So when Swati started Play for Peace, because she had the background, she had the education, and she had an understanding of playing with children, she started Play for Peace. And when I realized that there is something about play which is to do with cooperation, not competition, I got hooked into this. And the way it started is in 2000, our mentor, teacher, a friend, he met people who founded Play for Peace in US, and he came to India and he asked Swati, would you like to start it in India? And we first started a pilot project in Pune. And at that time, because we didn't have resources, I used to go with her driving the two-wheeler because she didn't have the license, and I would participate in playing. And that's how that was my first introduction to Play for Peace, and that I just got hooked into it because it connected so well to what I want to be. Yeah,
Fantastic. So a small, just an, and like you said, it's so interesting that the one key thing that has caught my attention is play for cooperation and not competition.
right, right.
In the last few months, Get, it's been an eye opener.
Yeah,
I am watching so much of competition being held online for little children, and I'm wondering, that already it's a tough state situation for them, and instead of taking them through just simplicity of play, we are actually putting them into this whole competitive spirit. And I don't know whether we really call it a spirit or we call so many people cracking their spirit. So this play for cooperation is something which I'm going to keep as my tagline with my learning with children. I think it's going to be one thing that I'm going to carry forward.
yeah.
um, a
I think,
very
especially in the context of competition per se, people may have different opinion about it. But if the whole competitiveness of the world, where people are trying to pull each other down, trying to get ahead of each other at any cost, if the same spirit translates into the sports or the games, as they say, then the whole purpose of play is lost, which is as you framed as the subject for this conversation, which is well-being. And how can you have well-being if you're stressed? Yeah, if play is causing stress, then where is well-being?
where is the well-being, and also see through the world we've also seen that while the medals, while the main play is so different, we've also seen the kind of stress levels these people go through. So yeah, I think at a stage which we are, so the reason why I invited Agyat today to speak to all of us was I see us complicating play so much. And that is the reason why I requested him to come on board and just speak to us about where all have they used play, what were the environments that they used play in, what were the resources they had, what was the budgeting they had. Because imagine, I mean, you have to just listen to what he has to say to understand the wonder of what they're doing. So if you can just take us through that part of, the kind of places you go to, how do you choose that, today. So we'll start with what all kinds of places you've gone with play. Let's start with one thing at a time.
Okay, so when we started doing Play for Peace, the whole mandate was to work in areas that have a history of communities living in conflict. So we went around looking for places and organizations that would be interested in the concept, because the whole idea was for not us to go and start somewhere on our own, but to support organizations that are working with the community, because playing is a community building tool also. So we started in the old city of Hyderabad, where there was a history of conflict, and there was a time in 90s and early 2000 that it was used to be called the city of curfews,
Yeah.
and the whole community got polarized. So we had a group of bunch of young people who we trained to work as youth facilitators, and they used to go and work with children in their own communities. Uh, so Hyderabad, we were playing in the old city. One of the sessions, the whole thing about Play for Peace is that we say continuous, consistent contact. That it's not about playing once.
Yeah.
Everyone has great fun. People say, "Wow, what play! We connected so well." But if it is just once, then it is an event. If
Yeah.
you want play to be significant, transformative, then it has to be something that is part of your routine. And especially when we are talking about children, it has to be predictable. So we used to have these weekly sessions where children knew in the community that, okay, today Sunday 9:30 Shahana Didi will come and we will play. So these young people would go there in that designated time, children will gather. And one of the spots was at the back of Makkah Masjid, the main mosque of Hyderabad. And a lot of time, and we were every day working in the old city of Hyderabad. And some of our friends who were not in the old city used to ask us, because of our religious identity, right? I am Hindu by birth. And people saw old city of Hyderabad as predominantly Muslim community. So they will ask, don't you feel unsafe? And for 4 years that we worked there and walked all the lanes, I don't remember a single incident of not feeling safe, right? And
Absolutely.
here was this Makkah Masjid. At the back of it, every Sunday at 9:30 we will play, children will gather. And in the whole 4 years, nobody ever came and told us that, why are you doing this? This is a place of prayer, you can't have this nonsense here. And we would be doing all sorts of games. We will be doing Ati ka bacha, gol, acha, khata kele kacha. And people will stand there, watch and go. So just to say
Yes.
how play creates an environment that gets people together and connected, and not just people who are playing, but people who are also watching.
Around. So it's a strange coincidence. I get you mentioned Hyderabad. I'm born and brought up in Hyderabad.
Oh, wow.
So
So
my
you'll
father
you'll
used to,
understand, right?
yes, I understand that. And and exactly what, when we talk about communities, we talk about community building. Square Panda, the vision of Square Panda, the Ashish who heads it in India,
Right.
said something so beautiful when I started. I told him, I said that, there was this one person I wanted to invite. And I said that, the person may not be able to communicate so well in English. So for a second, there was a pause on the other side. And then he said that it's a community, no, Sonia. There are all kinds of people in a community.
Right.
Everybody deserves a platform. And I think that one thing has actually made me come out here because I know that they mean good. And when you talk
Right.
about community building, it just means it is a community of people. It is just doesn't have any bifurcation. I throw the
Right.
ball, you catch it. You throw the
Yeah.
ball, I catch it. We don't check
That,
out who the ball is going to. It's like
yeah.
children playing, we have no bifurcations. We don't have any, so I remember I have grown in Hyderabad, and I always told everybody, I said कि यहाँ पे इतनी खूबसूरत सिटी होती है और हो सकती है जहाँ पे आप हर फेस्टिवल साथ मनाते हैं. And I
Yeah.
think this is what all of us are looking at. So I think this whole concept of what you're talking about, look at it as like a community, like
Yeah.
a safe space.
Yeah, and to respond to what you were earlier also asking about, what kind of resources, what kind of budget. So uh, we travel so many places, and when you, especially when you're working with communities that do not have the resources,
Yeah.
the whole idea is to be able to play without having to worry about resources at all. So uh, we don't use any resources. There is no we can do a 3-day training, a 5-day training without needing any equipments. And all games that we play with ourselves, we play with our body, we play with our sound, conversation, or movement, and creative aspects. And so as you were saying, that like another different dimensions of this. There's a game, we call them action songs. So you sing the song and everyone works together. So one of the song is I hold the ball. Can you so repeat after
I
me? I hold the ball.
I hold the ball.
I bounce the ball.
I bounce the ball.
I put it here.
I put it here.
Appa pata.
Upper pata.
Appa pata.
Upper pata.
I pass the ball.
I pass the ball.
So
Okay.
then when I pass the ball to you, you take on the song and you sing it.
Oh, so
Right?
I hold the ball. I
I
bounce
hold,
the
bounce
ball.
the ball. I
I
put
put
it
it here.
here, anywhere.
Wherever. And
Yeah,
I pass the ball. So the
right.
next person. So I hope all
Yeah,
my audience is taking the ball. Charlie, I'm passing the ball to you. Now you have to sing it.
right.
Come on.
And so the beauty of this is that many places when you're working, let's say in a place called Dhanarua, which is 50 kilometers from Patna, and where there is this community, Manji community,
Yes.
where you hardly find somebody who has done 10th grade, and the average age of man there is 45. They come from Dalit community and one of the most underprivileged communities. So there's no question of having resources there, but using songs like this, they'll go to school, somebody will see them watching, and the teachers will come and say, oh, my children have started speaking English. So there is no conversation of teaching English in a workplace. It's just how games
Mm.
transcends language, and and it kind of rebuilds on people's esteem also, that you are able to use games and learn things that otherwise seems far-fetched.
You know,
So
yeah. So what you're saying, Agat, is also the dream of the NEP 2020. All of us are talking about it a lot. And
right,
imagine, we can make it so simple. We can make it reaching every part of India. We can try and make it, and we don't need to make it complicated. We don't need to make it seem so difficult to do. And like you're saying, as you mentioned places, so this is also for people who are watching our show. See, the speakers who come to our show and to come and sit and speak to us, they have experiences of varied kinds. They will be traveling into different countries, they will be meeting different kinds of people, they will be supporting different kinds of people. So unless we understand the kind of support system they give to different kinds of people, we can't understand the enormity and the simplicity of what they're doing. Because
yeah,
each one of us is complicating it beyond the requirement, and that's been my belief. That is why, again, every week I do something with as low cost as just maybe 30 rupees or 40 rupees, and I hand make it, because I
sure,
don't
yeah,
want to let anyone feel that, oh my god, I can't do this. So each backdrop I
yeah.
do, I actually sit down and I don't take printouts. I take the lowest size of chart paper and I say, let me try and make this into something nice. And it's so thing that I have used this backdrop so many times by changing the concept. So reusage. So that's exactly what
Yeah.
Agya does. I know that there was this elephant thing that we played, and we were
Yeah,
also excited. I also saw a beautiful video of yours on YouTube when you were doing
yeah.
a CS a training of some office people, and they were all jumping and they were trying to touch their 2 feet together,
Yeah,
and it was just something so simple to do. So maybe if you could just talk to us about like we talked about, like some places that you have
simplicity.
visited.
Yeah.
If you could just
So
talk to us
when you were
about the
talking about,
sheer simplicity.
yeah, so when you said simplicity, one of the most cherished experience I remembered was in Lahore in Pakistan, when there's an organization called Starfish Foundation, and our friend Ansar Javed, who based there, uh, he uh, he took us to a school. We were supposed to do a session. We were doing a training actually, and it was the second or third day. And we said that if there are children who come, then the teachers who have learned play can actually run a session with the children, and that way we will be able to support them with the actual experience of playing with children.
Yes.
So next day, when this happens, uh, children come and we realize that because of the way the organization works, different group of children they work. We had children who were not able to see. We had children who were deaf and dumb. We had children who had mental disabilities, and we said, oh, we can't play with all of them together, right? So thankfully, I was there, Swati was there,
Okay.
Ajat, my colleague Ajat was there, and another colleague Abha Jeurkar was there. So we split into four different groups, and I was working with the group that had children with mental disabilities, and I had no experience
Okay.
of working with a group of children who had these challenges. So I just sat with them, and I just started connecting with them, looking at them, doing some action, and they will respond, and I'll base my response on how they respond. And it was just a matter of offering a stimulant and getting them to react to it. That became the whole play, and we were able to do it for 45 minutes. So that's one example of simplicity. Another example is when we were in 2002, when the Gujarat riots happened. We were in Ahmedabad, and we were in Xavier Social Service Society, and I was walking up the stairs and I met a young person, and we just got talking, and he said, oh, we are six young people who have come as interns from TIS. We are working with relief camps, and we are really struggling with children. We don't know what to do. Can you give us a training? So we did a half day training, and the next day, and within a week, there were 21 relief camps in Ahmedabad, and the games reached 21 camps in 2 days. 48 hours, children in all those 21 camps were playing games. And just how important that was, to share that in one of the camps, we had gone there to kind of, as a part of a group, to see what are the needs. And both Swati and me have no experience of working in such situation, and we went from camp to camp, and we didn't want to ask people again and again what have they have gone through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Makes
sometimes
sense.
people will also told us that don't think about playing, people have suffered so much.
Yeah.
So one day, finally, on the third or fourth day, we were in a camp in Jamalpur in Ahmedabad, and we realized that we don't know anything else. We just gathered 10 children, we started playing. Within 10 minutes, every single child in that camp was in our
Okay.
circle, and we had an extended circle of relatives, women, men, who were surrounded, and just seeing children play and laugh.
They were smiling.
They were literally not only laugh, they were actually sitting on the floor laughing. And I still remember one lady coming up to us and saying, in 3 months, this is the first time we have seen our children laughing. That's the value of play. We didn't go with anything else. It was just me, myself, and the games. It would be a song, it's a game where we go in the circle, I will say something, you will say something, and that's it. And another example of that simplicity, uh, we were in 2017, we were in a refugee camp in Skaramagas in Greece, in Athens. And we had, the whole idea was to work with young people because they had nothing to do in the camps. There was a center for children, for taking care of mother and young children. There were other things, but nothing happening with young people. So the whole idea was to work with them, and but we didn't know their language.
Okay.
They couldn't understand our language. So all we have to do was, games themselves don't require any language. So in somehow we can communicate games to them. I would Google. So there is this game called 8 step, 8 shake. So it goes like this: you shake your right hand first, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 times. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 times. Then you do with the legs also. Then you go whole body: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I just Googled what is 1 to 8 in Arabic. So Wahad, Nin, Talati, Khamsa, Arbi, Satta, Siba, Tamani. So
And they
I
did.
learned that, and just that act of using some words that
They were
that's from
familiar
their
with.
language connects you. And we were able to play those games. And then when we had to talk about values, I will type it in the Google Translate, show it to them. They will type what they understood and Google Translate and show me. So first 3 days till we found somebody, one of the youth from the refugee camp itself, she was able to understand not only English, but she was able to also translate it to not only Arabic, but also to the language that they speak, the Syrians speak. So that's the simplicity, right? That language doesn't stop you.
So, again, when I'm listening to you, um, it's so easy to pretend all is well.
Right.
For us to never talk about these things forever, for us to just say that, play is based on school and education, and but that is why I put up city, country, home, school, maybe a gully, a mohalla, and anything that we mention during this time are moments which have happened in the history of any country, of
Sure.
any place. It's not like we are building this up. Or so, my reason to bring somebody who works with play even during the deepest time of pain is to acknowledge the fact that it is such a powerful tool, and we don't use it to the optimum use that is required. Now, coming to the situation in these times. So, what Agyat has done, what his teams have done, have actually seen situations which could be natural calamities, which could be man-made
Man-made disaster.
calamities, which could be wars, which could be, just two people clashing, which could be variations. So while without judging what is right and wrong, our focus here is only to understand that even in these tough situations, what worked, what made people smile was a simple play and not money that made play happen. It
Right.
was just the, and I think, for a person, like when I'm listening to him, for a second I just felt that what kind of belief and faith you have to go out there and play with every kind of a situation. And today, this last 10 months I've been telling this again to everybody I meet: the children are safe. Let's not pretend that it's like a disaster for these little children. Disasters are disasters.
Actually, the disaster is not allowing them to play.
So that is what I was saying, that disaster is beyond what you and me can imagine. We are sitting in safe homes. Your children are sitting with their first teachers, their parents, the teachers, they're all in a safe environment. Imagine if we still don't let them play. We don't make play possible. We make it so complex. So I think that was my whole purpose, that let's not take this time. See, the next 3, 4 months, kids are going to be home with us, right? Let's
Yeah.
not make this seem bigger than what it is.
Yeah.
Because what Agyat has mentioned just now, you've seen the incidents he's mentioned, right? That is something which is more difficult to do. So suppose we talk of daily situations, Agyat, today, in today's times, what do you think parents should do at this next few months of the the whole way everything is?
I think we've taken let the fears take us over. Uh, there. I mean, I cannot imagine. I was talking to a friend who works with, especially the younger age children that we were talking about. She said for a 2-year-old child or 3-year-old child or 5, 6-year-old child to miss 9 months of playing is like missing a whole set of milestones that they would have gone through.
Yes.
So the disaster is not COVID. The disaster is not letting them play. And I've seen in the society that I also live. I mean, the moment children get a chance, they would come out and play. And then in 2 days, somebody would say, "Why are children playing outside? We should be more careful." I mean, you can exercise all carefulness and still let them play. I mean,
Yes.
if people
Yes.
still, if you really want, if you focused, you would create opportunities to play. I'm sure there are. I mean, it doesn't require a consultant to tell children that how they can play safely. I mean, children love to play. You put any condition, they will abide by those conditions
Yes.
because they're getting to play, right? So
And
I
yes,
think
and
creating
I think,
opportunity. Yeah,
yeah,
sure, sure.
play up. And also, I get what I'm also thinking that we can put this across is that, the whole pandemic is when infected people mustn't touch each other.
Right.
Correct. That's the basic thing. कि भाई आपको infection है, don't come close to me. मुझे infection है, I don't come close to you. But please remember, you have protected your children. Your children are not exposed to the illness.
Right.
There is, I mean, most of us have kept our children and the older people really safe during this time, right?
Yeah.
So allow them to. come down and play. I'm actually seeing such a marked difference in the temperament of children. Since I'm seeing noises down, and today I was watching downstairs, they were doing up the basketball court.
Mm.
And slowly, because I can see it from the balcony, from the whole day, I'm watching kids coming and going. That means an excitement is building up.
Yeah.
So I just, what you're saying is just create those opportunities also as
And
parents.
if you
Sorry,
if
yes.
you if you if you tell children, they will come up with games that will have they would play about social distancing, they will play about corona. I mean, when I'm playing online with some of my friends, we are actually using those terms, corona and covid and social distancing, to actually play games. You can play a tag game, the tag games where we run and chase each other. I mean, it's just such a great idea that you have to keep a distance. If you come closer than 3 feet, then you are tagged, and you become it, or you
You become the
become
den.
10. Yeah, right. So there are so many possibilities if we just think simply.
Do you remember this game? Get this one, the seven stones, where you actually put stones on top
Yeah,
of
we
each
call it
other.
Sitolia.
Yeah. So this is, yeah. These are all games we've
Yeah,
grown with.
yeah, and you
There's
don't
another.
physically touch.
You don't
Yeah, it
physically, you
uses a
put a
ball,
stone
right?
in the ball.
So the
And
game,
another very nice game used to be this. I'll draw it and show it. It's a beautiful game. Again, a distance game. Now that I'm talking to you, my brain is also beginning to function a bit. You know, it's a game that looked like this. So in the
right?
center of this, you put four stones.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the players are in corners, and there is a
Hmm.
den in the center who keeps walking this line, and
Right,
you have to go and you have to grab the stone and come back, and if the
right.
person catches you, you're out. So it's
Yeah,
really not, I mean, there is such beautiful games. You remember that game we used to play which says आओ मिलो शीलो शालो कच्चा धागा race लगा लो, so what, can you not just do it from a little distance? So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's play is possible. It's
yeah,
possible
yeah.
even in these times. And and we talked about the places you've gone to. We've talked about the areas. We talked about the simplicity. uh I think I'd like you to just tell us, what is it that you see in the emotional change in people? Let it be adults, let it be children. One, emotionally, how you've seen people change, and the second part is, have they become a little more confident? So emotions and confidence, what is it that you noticed from the beginning to the end of it? Could be any program, you don't have to mention the program, but just the change, if you can
Sure.
please.
Uh, let me give you a couple of examples. One is from Solapur, other is from Kashmir. Uh, we did a training for a group of people. So typically, a lot of our work is for training activists or NGO
People with
workers
those
or
NGOs, yeah.
para teachers. Different people call them animators, different things. And so we were doing working with an organization called Energy Fire, and we had trained a group of people from Bihar, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra. And we did the first training. We met after 3 months, and we were asking them, okay, so how did this go? Is there any story you want to share with us? And when we are doing Play for Peace trainings, we talk about the core values, and the core values are inclusion, cooperation, fun, and caring. So one somebody from Solapur was sharing this story of this young boy called Babya, who in the village was considered mentally challenged, and nobody had seen him or heard him talking. But because we talk about inclusion and we always say don't force play, but if somebody is standing in the circle, let them stand. Their standing without doing anything is also participation. Don't throw them out. So they said we used to play this game, and that child always used to come and stand. Somewhere down the line in the second or third month, when they were playing this game, Hati ka bacha, like I was saying, Hati ka bacha, gol gol acha, that child started singing the song. And when they were narrating the story, they said, we had never heard him speak. How did he start speaking? So this goes on both emotional transformation
As
and
well as
confidence,
confidence.
that when you create a safe space, and when we say safe space, a space where there is no judgment, when there is an absence of judgment, then children or adult for that matter are able to see their true being. They're able to get in touch with their strengths, and they're able to throw away all the burdens, all the masks that the world has given them, telling them, you are incapable, you are mentally retarded, you can't read, you can't write, you're a failure, you are not capable. So with children, this is how it works. And uh, as much as with children, it works with young people also. So same place in Hyderabad when we work with, and this is why one of the question you had asked me, how do we why do we continue doing Play for Peace after 20 years, is when we started in Hyderabad, we had a bunch of 25, 30 young people, most of them dropouts, uh, and they were doing nothing else. They came, they started playing. One of the girl, her name is Imrose. She started. She came up very quickly. Within 6 months, she was leading the whole group. She went and talked to 30 schools, started playing. She had dropped out in 10th grade because of emotional violence in school. She has failed twice in English. This is the girl who just 2 weeks back, not only has she done her masters, she had completed her law degree in US. She is now staying in US, and she has completed her law degree. She wants to work for immigrants' rights. That's
My
the
God.
confidence transformation that people go through.
My
And
God.
that the two things are linked. When you say emotional, how what happens to emotion and what happens to confidence, if we can take care of emotions, confidence will take care of itself. If I am able to feel safe, then I'm able to look at what I am capable of. That's where confidence resides.
I think this would hold good for any scenario today. The other day I was talking to some people from a corporate, and I asked him, why are you so perturbed? He says, Ma'am, I don't feel safe anymore. This is an adult, educated, working. And I said, what happened? Why is it that this kind of stress is there? And I think the safety, what you're talking about, is so important. So, also the safety to say that it's okay if the ball drops from my hand. It's
Yeah,
okay if I'm not able to do what the others are able to do. And I remember, again, when you all played that circle game, na, so we were all standing there very, I am telling you my state of mind.
sure.
Okay, so I was also another facilitator. So it was a program which we were all facilitating. So you were facilitating the play, and I was there for activity based learning.
Right.
So the first thing that was in my mind, I mean, this was like 10 years back, right? First thing was in my mind was, if this guy asks me something, I can't go wrong. And suddenly I realized after 5 minutes, I didn't care.
Right.
I just didn't care. Because, you are so busy with what you feel is the right thing to do. And I think that little circle, that little moment of watching this whole process unfurl, like I said, everything in life has a very peculiar way of a completion. Where you look at something and say that I want to be like this. I want to be able to do things which make children feel. So there's a very nice question that says, is competition healthy if one is good at sports? So it depends. We are talking of play here. So can you answer that for
Yeah. So personally, I think uh, I can't answer that question in vacuum. If I were to take what the world we live in today, I think there can be no healthy competition. In the world we live today, the judgments that we live with, the amount of value that is put on winning, I don't think there can be healthy competition. It has to be really an evolved being. If somebody is really evolved, then maybe they can be a sport. They can be sporting while playing. But if somebody is that sporting, they don't need. I mean, it wouldn't matter to them if they're competing or not.
Yeah. I think
That would
also
be
what
my
they're
short
also,
answer.
yeah. So there was this very interesting thing that now that they're talking about this, I invited two sisters who started playing golf. I mean, they were like, I used to watch them go very close to my house. And I heard that, they are now golfing champions. So I didn't invite the girls because they were champions. I invited the mother to check how she made them champions.
Right.
Because I saw simple play. This
Right.
lady used to have an alto. She used to put both her kids in the alto, put two golf bags, and very normally take them out to the golf course. So I asked her, what did you do there? She said, I just let them be. I let them enjoy the fact that, and I asked her that, how long did you give yourself? She said, I told myself that I'll give them 3 years. I'll give them 3 years to enjoy the play. And in the process, if they become good, we will put them into competitions. It was like for a mother to wake up every morning with a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, to put them in the car, take them for golf, bring them back at 7 o'clock, take them to school, and simply say it doesn't matter if they compete tomorrow. And today, the youngest daughter is the first pro golfing in India, 16 years
Yeah.
old,
So
because the
that's
mother
what.
just let her play.
Yeah, that's why they say don't force play. State of play is crucial for play to happen. So you let children be. They will find play, and they will find play in the most objects that we don't even recognize. I mean, and you just have to watch. I don't have to say this. If you watch children, if you observe children, you know what play is. Not only children, if you watch animals, you know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
play is.
Playing, yes.
Yeah.
Just let them be like. So, this is also really interesting. Also, what you said was very nice was a rhythm and pattern. So children knew every day, every week that you're going to come. So it was also like a mental conditioning that now I have to go down to play. Another very important thing which I thought we must address today is never barter play as a punishment for children.
Yeah.
I feel very pained when I see parents telling a child, if you don't do this, I will not let you go out and play. I think I would really want you to just talk about this,
I
this
I think it
barter
goes
looks.
it goes to a deeper question of whether you are now negotiating with children or whether you're bargaining. You know, like because you have the power. If you have the power, you have the responsibility. So holding the power yourself and making children responsible is very unfair game. If you are holding the power, then you are
You
responsible.
are
Don't put the onus on children. The onus has to be with you then. So I think if the punishment, if there is any punishment, it has to be for the parents. If you have the power, if anything happens to children, the punishment is for you, not for the children. Why should, I mean, children are not deciding. If you are deciding for children, then you decide punishment for yourself. Where the children come into picture, that would be, I mean, my immediate thought would be that.
Yeah, so I remember, Gad, when I started training to be an activity-based teacher, and we used to, curriculums are so difficult in school sometimes to finish. So we used to find teachers getting really irritated. So we had this really old person, about 75, 72. He used to be advisor of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, again Hyderabad. And one day he told me that, when you walk into a classroom and you whack a kid or you sort of scold a kid and say, तुमको समझ क्यों नहीं आ रहा? Come out and whack yourself and say, तुमको समझाना क्यों नहीं आ रहा?
Junior, yeah.
Why are you not able to make it? And it's not like play is indiscipline. I remember when you were conducting your programs, the one thing that you kept intact was the discipline. I did not see the sessions go wild. I did not see people toppling over each other. I did not see. So sometimes when we talk about play and letting it be, please don't misinterpret it like an indisciplined play pattern. It also means respecting each other a lot. So in situations like this, I guess, what do you do when you see children completely, becoming offensive? What do you do during that playtime?
So that's why core values become the anchor. So a lot of time people ask us, and when we were in Israel very early in our work in 2006, a lot of time people used to ask us, even before we went there, people will ask, okay, you will play with children, then what? What would you talk about? And we used to say, we will not talk about anything. For children, playing is experience, and that's what the meaning is. What we did talk about is we would take a 1 minute and say, okay, we are playing, but these are the core values. Everyone is included. Nobody gets out. Uh, we are not playing any competitive games. Everyone has to be safe, and we have to have fun. So if there is an incident of a child misbehaving or being violent, and there are children like that,
Yeah.
we would stop the game. We will address it. We will say, okay, if you are going to do this, we will not be able to play. Do you want to play? Then this is it. And there are times if you're working in the community that there would be children who are very violent. And that's why we always also say, don't play alone. If you are facilitating with children, if there are 20 children, don't do it alone. You always need to have 2 or 3 people,
Yeah.
because if there is a child and he's violent, that means there is a history. Children don't become violent as a game, right? You know that there is a history of abuse somewhere that is forcing them to become violent. So, and that if it has crossed a limit, then that child that needs to be dealt separately. So one of us can step out, talk to that child. Sometime, I mean, that's the ultimate step, that you step out with that child. But a lot of time it's just the child who's more playful, has more energy, and they just want, and because you have a diverse group, sometimes the game may be going slow and they want attention. All you have to do is give them the lead. And that's why when you play non-competitive games, because the leadership keeps shifting from one person to other person, that person remains excited that, okay, my turn is going to come. And sometimes they deliberately made mistakes so that they can come and lead, which is okay. That's also being playful. So I think first answer is to have a strategy to engage children who are violent, and then having an understanding that there are things that you can't compromise on. And when you say inclusion and safety, that's the precise reason you have to address that violence, because if one child is being violent, it is excluding other children.
Excluding other children, yeah. That is
So to
absolutely
ensure
right.
everyone's inclusion, you have to talk to that child separately if that is the need. Otherwise, giving them leadership itself solves the problem 90% of the time.
You know, Agyat, I've been trying to make notes, which I keep trying to make each time. But today, I don't think I picked up my pencil too many times because I was just really. It's been a huge learning. I know that because you talked about all the things that we all want to believe in. You talked of it being continuous. You talked of it being contact based. Keep it going. Keep empowering them, inclusion, fun. And I think for me, the most important tagline was to care enough to make them feel safe. I think if we do all of that, and the Meri Sari Tumse Safed Kaise type, don't allow that thing to come into a normal, happy playtime. And imagine, this is for all the audience. We have people like Agyat and his team that reach out to such difficult situations. Um, so, first of all, when you are in today's situation, it's not so difficult. They can be
Yeah.
tougher times. Let's make it happier. Let's make it fun. Let's make your eyes shine. And Agyat, we want to thank you for being with us. It's been a real honor for me personally, and I'm sure for the Square Panda platform to have somebody who does such unique work. So
Uh,
thank you.
my my pleasure completely, and you can share my email ID with people if somebody wants to
We
reach out
will,
and they
of
want to
course.
talk about, like Shashikala was asking something around about a child not wanting to play. I just replied to her in chat box,
Yes,
but
I just saw that.
uh, if there are questions that people want to ask, you can send me
Yes.
an email. I will reply to them
We will do
separately.
that, and please tell Swati that we did miss her. I know her heart and soul is a part of what you do and your whole team, and thank you so very much.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you so
And
much for
for
having
the
me.
thank you. And the last session of this year is going to be something which I'm going to cover next week. After such good speakers each time, I just wonder when I'm doing my own session, how is it going to? Oh, okay, all right. I got this again. I finally got this.
Yeah.
No, I got this.
Okay.
I got this. Almost, almost. And God bless you. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Bye bye. We'll catch up.
Pleasure. Bye.
Thank you. My honor, please.
Square, score, panda.